look at this. And I'm taking both of them because she was like, take me, take me. Here's the Ace of Cups. Okay. Yet another upgrade in the spirit, from the spirit. Unconditional love. Here's the Tower moments, and then the Star card is peeking out. Ooh, Hierophant down here too. This is like structures and orders. Yeah, it's like, wow, this is interesting. It's like we're dismantling in some regard, and here's the anxiety of those that want to either stay in these constructs of order as they are with no evolution, or that find value in keeping others confined to them, i.e. the systems or powers that be themselves. But this is the star energy that we're being called to express. This unique knowing in our being, this illumination from the inside out that in the highest vibration is being ordained by the heavens to ultimately, I'm feeling like this is like the changing of the guard, and that's what the anxiety is about, because the establishments, the powers that be that have established themselves in a certain position don't wield the same power and authority that they once did over the greater masses that were willing to surrender and submit to them. It's what our ancestors submitted and surrendered to go along, to get along with societal standards that some were ultimately admonished for stepping outside of the guidelines of that. Now it's like I was saying, it's like, what do we give them to come back to pour into? More of the same that they sacrificed to do away with, or were sacrificed, and now, in hindsight or from outside looking in, can see wasn't the ideal, that it would have been worth their human existence to operate more in this function of shining in their own unique regard, no matter what how the system resisted. Now, we know times were different depending on the generation, so although it might have been possible, it was much easier said than done. And that's the point, that we have all the facility, even though it seems like times is terrible now, the world's just getting worse. There is no better time to be alive than right now. Literally, not only witnessing, but perhaps inciting the changing of the guard, the evolution of all that ever was and all that ever will be, is happening by the power of your energy. Yeah, you. Yes, you. By the way that you're becoming more aware of the power that you possess, and the way that you're choosing in that blessed assurance here, this right here, this what do I call it, anointing here, this blessed assurance of your power and position to express it, your insistence to express it with the Empress card. That's what they want to return to. You become an open vessel, and then that's what magnifies the power and the force to be able to really do some serious things, some real mystical things in this earth that ain't never been seen before. And maybe even in a practical way, moving mountains. Like, consider you don't have no money, no prospect of nothing coming in, and then all of a sudden the floodgates open to you, or you're wanting to move and you don't really know how that's going to get to be, but suddenly, just by way of the intention of the idea, things start to just align for you almost perfectly. You get a strange email or a random email about a first-time home buyer, or some place and state that by some divine chance pays you to move, which happens. It's just no place that I would ever want to live or that I want to live right now. But, things like that seem to just be supernatural or happenstance, or, they are supernatural, but happenstance and coincidental, when in actuality it was you wielding that force that works within you and allowing the energies that co-create with you, because you become an open channel for them to do so, because you're unlimited by societal standards and impressions and interference and limitations, that the floodgates just open for you naturally on a matter of your pure intention or mental inflection for that cue. You feel me? Like, and the only reason why it doesn't happen or work more often is because of the disparity between you realizing that that is actually what you're doing and who you are and what you're capable of and what you're worthy to do, and you believing that it's either some power outside of you completely disconnected from you, or that it just happened by circumstance or by coincidence. It's the power of your self-awareness and assuredness to put it into action, to be intentional, like, no, this is what I earned this power. I have the authority of it. And the things, and you can trust yourself in the things that you're wielding with it, because you've already been tried, tested, and true. And yet at the same time, to still have that footloose, fancy free spirit about you as a child would, to learn and grow within that power, to be mature, to know exactly the best and most productive and prosperous way to exercise it with your experience, not being hard on yourself, feeling like you got to know exactly what to do, or not use it at all because you're afraid, or, overuse it too much and maybe be pulling in some things that aren't necessarily the greatest for you. Like, it's all about learning the balance and the wisdom. And I feel like anybody that I'm talking to, especially when I'm talking about having gone through any collegiate experience or higher learning, or just life experience in general that's matured you in your days, you've already come to a point. I mean, if you've even had a Saturn return at this point, you've come to enough of a knowing to have faith and trust in yourself and what you're capable to do, what you're being called to do, as a matter of fact. It's like the world is almost depending on you to show the inhabitants thereof what they're capable of as well, that may not be awakened to that reality at all, that are still, humdrumming around the college campus trying to figure out, their asshole from their mouth type of situation in the world, meaning not literally, because no disrespect to college students, you keep on figuring it out. You going to get there. I mean, in general, in life, like, just not even really aware of an awareness or there any desire to be aware, just here, The awakening comes through those that have been awakened and become aware and are assured of their position of authority and power in real time. It doesn't happen any other way, because society is not set up for us to know any truth about ourselves. It's only going to come from the reflective forces in the earth, literally, the temperance energies in the earth that can alchemize spirit into matter, that have the wisdom and the truth. Oh, he wanted to come back out. Okay. That's interesting. To actually show and prove that alchemical process that most people just don't even realize then they're doing every day. And so when you don't realize that you have that power and Ace of Swords, yeah, okay, that's interesting. You don't realize you have that power, then that means someone else, now I almost put this up backwards, but that's just how I had it, so I'm not going to take that upside down. Someone else will use it for you, wield it for you, siphon it from you, and redirect it for their own general purposes. It's like leaving $1 million on the table and not expecting somebody to come take it and spend it. You know, that's the energy that you possess, even more invaluable than that. So to wrap it up here, because I really didn't mean to go this long and this hard. Pause. College shit. But to wrap this up, first of all, the Six of Cups came back out. All right. I'm so hot, but I couldn't stop with this because it was so interesting to me. So we got the King of Swords. There's some type of, this is the conflict over the truth of your identity, like kind of what I was talking about. This is the chaos, confusion, conflict, the competition in the world that we've been conditioned to contribute to, in some ways to create. It's the disorder of energy that is an opposing force to this sovereign expression here, the supreme expression in the Ace of Wands. It's the ego trip, ultimately. That's what that is. To go against the highest value of integrity and honor and truth of you for the sake of feeling like you have something to prove to the masses. There's that. You don't have nothing to prove regarding that power. You don't have to wield it in any particular way. You don't have to show nobody what you're working with or what you got up your sleeve or what you can manifest. It can be a personal thing. What matters most is, when I'm talking about being an example, it's because your life and your energy signature speaks for itself without you having to say anything. You don't have to say, yeah, you know, I'm an alchemist, or yeah, I can speak things into existence and they just happen, or I see the future, or I can hear ancestors, or like, you don't have to say anything. It's nobody's business what it is and how it works, what you do. It's just that you know enough and are short enough and using it in integrity that the wealth of your life becomes the example, because it begins to pour out like this Ace of Cups. And like the Sun card, it shines that brightly because it's natural. It's not bruised by ego and pride as such as this with the Five of Wands, where everybody wants to show that they're the most powerful, or they're the most intuitive, or they're the most gifted, the most talented, have the most money. This is like a dick measuring contest. That's not necessary. It's about the truth here. Ace of Swords measured with the King of Wands, who has a staff, very well endowed, mind you. And the truth of the matter is, the only one that really needs to know the endowment of his being is him. The rest of it is exuded from his confidence and his courage and his track record, the receipts of his conquests. To see, like, man, dude always looked like he somewhat, not just about material stuff like well-dressed and this and that, but just giving off the vibration, the energetic signature that you want for nothing. You know what I mean? That you're unbothered. Life is not a stress to you. Back again to that signature of happiness. How could the Supreme Source not want us to exude happiness and joy when that is the most attractive force that there is? If we all around here just doing our so-called mission, feeling obligated to do so with no real connection to our with no energetic connection to our responsibility except for it being an obligation, what really does that attract? That don't attract me no more than somebody that goes to work every day and hates their job. It doesn't make me want to apply there, So it's like, this is the energy here. Someone that's confident, extremely creative, attractive. You can see the evidence of their manifestation because they're easeful in their desires. They're not overly ambitious, just, lusting over the world, but you can clearly see that they're satisfied in what they have created for themselves, and their wealth of knowledge and visions and, power is what this is, but it's pure with the Ace of Swords. It's not tainted. This is not tainted ambition or passion or perverted passion, as I like to say, where you just want in everything that you lay your eyes on. It's a very specific and integral pursuit of passion to a path that's been designed for you to follow. And it is very co-creative with the divine, but it's not dominated by any external force. It has to be co-creativity, because we are the hands and feet and eyes and ears and so on and so forth, the sensation of source that is ultimately carrying the torch. We are it. So it does matter the spirit and energetic nature in which you do a thing. And it does matter the integrity that you maintain to what has been divined and designed for you. It's just as much of a this as it is a that. But as I've been saying, not this or that. It's this and that. So this spirit over here with the heartbreak, this is fear, toxicity, trauma. This is the end of it with the 10 of Swords, of self-sabotage, the 7 of Swords, which is the disparity between a 3 and a 10. What's the 7 of Swords? The 6 is crossing over the 7. Oh, that's betrayal. And it's the end of that. It's the end of that cycle. Betraying self out of a more, expansive experience of life, or being betrayed out of it, being finessed out of it by way of the ways that I mentioned. Remember, the Devil card did pop up by society or establishments that want to make you want to turn you back into these cycles of trauma and toxicity that make you feel hopeless, with the 10 of Swords here. That's a great disparity, in energy and mentally, to be completely depleted of your mental stability and, power to make decisions and to perceive a prosperous way forward, to catch the vision of where you're going next and be able to move in integrity toward that vision and in the capacity of that vision. That's the sacrifice of our ancestors past. This is the sacrifice. Much heartbreak and discontentment has already been, the blood, sweat, and tears have already paved the way for us to embody a new expression and experience of life that they can now take part in, by whether, even if it's just by way of observation, that, well, by God, at least our sacrifices weren't in vain, and somebody gets to live the dream. Or, as I said, to literally come back. I did afterward message one day, way long back. I don't even remember the title of it, but me reading, my notes and things like that, about how I had some impressions on me about how ancestors get to re-enter the realm, whether it be through children or whether it be through our energetic force fields. In one way, shape, and form, they haven't been able to so easily because we haven't been primed for that exchange of vibration. We've still been stuck in the matrix, for lack of a better term, but stuck in those cycles of toxicity that ultimately, like I said, I don't even think they can energetically flow through that frequency, but why would they want to flow through in a space that they left from? Like literally the recreation of slavery in different forms, servitude in different forms, and all the other lower vibrational energies, fear, the traumas that they left behind, ultimately, for lack of a better word, is what's exemplified here with the 3 of Swords, and what has ended, thankfully, by way of our co-creation with the spirit and with their guidance, to bring to a close. If you were one that actually took accepted the challenge and the charge to lead that, to alleviate that karmic cycle and start something fresh in this lifetime, to toil in the way that may have seemed long and may have seemed hard, and at some points you didn't even realize if you were doing it right. But everything that you invested just by way of the intention to do something different, to have a different mindset, to have a different outcome. It could have been you being one to save money when you didn't come from a generation that taught you how to save. It could have been you investing in cultivating your gifts and your talents as a means for a stable income or a secure lifestyle, and you were never encouraged to do so in your immediate family, or you didn't see any evidence of that in your immediate family. It could be you having the mindset of coming from the mindset of abuse, or coming from the experience, let us say, even of abuse, and feeling powerless, or the condition of powerlessness being impressed upon you from very extraneous circumstances, that once you became a father, or you started to engage in relationships, you did a completely 180 from. You decided that you were going to love differently, that you were going to appreciate people differently, appreciate yourself more deeply. You took a completely different trajectory, and it doesn't have to be that dramatic, it could be something more subtle, of course. Dig this. Maybe you were the first to go to college in your family, in your living family, which is really not all that uncommon. Me personally, I wasn't the first to go, but I was the first to, my dad, believe it or not, this is true. My dad had started college and my mom started college when they were younger. Surprise, they had me, got married, and my dad kind of plugged away at school part-time for many, many years. And of course they worked full-time because their, objective was to have a stable life and to work beyond having support otherwise while they finished school, or so on and so forth. So they made the choice to make that sacrifice, to be more intentional about a material living day to day, than finishing school in one focus. So when it came time for me to graduate, my dad graduated the same year that I did, only just maybe, I want to say, a month before me, that he got his bachelor's, and I graduated a month later. But before that phenomenon, I would have been the first in my family to actually graduate from school. So that's a real-time example. And I know for a fact, because he actually said it out of his mouth, that he vowed that he would beat me out, and he did. And I was very proud that he did. It was no competition to me whatsoever. I was happy that he finally completed that milestone, and I was proud to be there to cheer him on. But if it wasn't for that, it may not, even in that regard, I led a bit of a charge and an incitement for him to do something that may have otherwise taken even longer because of life experiences or life circumstances, or not happened at all. He could have quit a long time ago if, he didn't have the motivation to finish for his children, or before his child, to some degree. So real time, you could be paving the way for generations that have come before you in the most practical sense, but even in the most fantastical ways. There are things that you're paving the way for that you don't, right now it's hard to even conceptualize are even real. And it's important that you start to bring yourself to the openness to perceive and conceive of these realities, so that you don't resist it and miss an opportunity to carry your generation onto a new timeline of experience that would ultimately liberate generations to come, generations past, and also exalt the elders that have come before you to make the sacrifices that had to be so for you to stand here and get the opportunity that you have. It's like everybody wins when you're aware of the power that you possess and you're willing to express it without inhibition. it takes a great deal of courage to do so, and insight, let alone foresight, but certainly insight before foresight, to carry out the mission. But if you're listening to this message, you've already been chosen accordingly. You've already been prepared, well educated, even if it's by way of your experiences. You've been equipped from the inside out, and you have the support of your ancestors, angelic realms, and the support of the celestials in some way, shape, or form, the support of Source, the ordination, the anointing of Source to be in this position of power and authority. The only thing left to do is to receive it and operate in it. So I know there's a reason that I'm saying this, because I know that even myself, there are some aspects of my energy that I haven't fully committed to, or that I haven't fully embraced, let alone expressed. And this is the season, especially with Scorpio here, of really digging deep or allowing yourself to access that raw energetic force of you that in some regard may consume you, or, in ways that you weren't even prepared for if you're unaware or unassuming, but this is to be aware and assuming that you are not only being prepared to receive, but you're probably already inhabiting it, if not already expressing it, and just unaware that you're doing so. So it's just to flip that switch, to be even more assured of yourself, even more confident, is what the King of Wands is. And he is powerful, but he does it in integrity and justifiably, in fairness and honor and in truth, without any apologies. The sun doesn't ask to shine, as I like to say. It just does. You were given the power to use it, and so you just do. And anybody that has a problem with that can take it up with Source, and maybe on their way to to file their complaint, they'll actually find their path as well, God willing. So I'm gonna leave it there. As if there's any more that could really be said, but I feel like this was a little bit more spiritual than practical in a lot of ways, even though I feel like I kind of touched on all bases, so you can receive from it as you will. It started with the Six of Cups, it ended with the Six of Cups. I would say the promising aspect is that whatever it is you were divine to complete, you did it. I feel like that's one thing I need to say, that whatever karmic cycle you were supposed to close, or karmic releasing, reconciling, you were supposed to do in this life, whether it be from past life or the past few seasons or cycles or decades or whatever it may be, whatever the charge is that you were divined to lead, you did that. You have done it, and you have done it well. This energy is the example of it, that if you didn't know that you did it well, I'm here to tell you, the Spirit says that you have. It's like you've completed all your course requirements for this stage of matriculation, or dare I say graduation at this point. Just continue to stay in that spirit of joy, as I had to kind of regress back to the college campus to feel that vibration again. Continue to return to those things that incite that energy into you, so you never lose sight of it. So it doesn't have to be years or decades before you reconcile with the exuberance of life, and you have to remind yourself all over again. It's supposed to be the undercurrent of your energetic expression. It's supposed to be. No apologies made for it. You're wise enough to be able to balance it all in spirit and in truth. So congratulations, much love and peace, protection, prosperity and power and passion, indeed, on your journey. I wish you all the best, indeed. Just keep doing what you're doing, because obviously it's been working for you, and there's so much more in store yet to be experienced. And I feel like you're going to be happy about it. You're about to enjoy it a great deal more than you probably even have the expectation to. Don't let it be all work and no play. You know, just as much as you work, enjoy your assignment. All right, you deserve to. In any event, as always, I leave you with peace.